Hi, how you doing? Yes. Thank you.
In terms of your question, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. And you?
I'm doing good. I'm about to go on
Alright.
vacation, so.
You're
hopefully
going on a holiday
I am, yes.
out of Florida.
I know.
Where would you possibly want to go?
I'm going to Colorado,
Oh,
ironically.
now that is beautiful.
I know. I am excited.
Yeah, my daughter lives there.
Oh, really? Where's she live?
Yeah, she lives in Fort Collins.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I was born and raised in Colorado, so
Oh, really?
it's home for me, actually.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Is she going to school at CSU?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
she
Good for
does.
her.
Yeah, she loves it over there.
Yeah.
It's a good school.
It's hard to leave once you go, but once you've seen the snow 50,000 times, you're like, maybe I'll go somewhere warmer.
Right?
Yep.
Well, I really do understand the snowbirds though. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
In the summer, like Colorado, in the winter, Florida, it's
Yeah.
not a bad deal.
I know.
If you can do it.
Right.
So
The summer times here in Florida are pretty brutal. I got to give it to them. They know what they're doing, and they get real hot.
But let's see. So now it's March, and you're going on a holiday to Colorado. So you're gonna go see family.
Going to see family, yep, and then two really good friends of mine are getting married.
Oh,
Yeah,
congratulations!
thank you. Yeah. So,
Two good friends.
two
Now,
good friends. Yep.
so that they are a couple, or they're two couples.
They are a couple, and they're actually two of like the first employees I ever managed when I started as a supervisor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
That's so funny. So they met at work.
they met at work. Yep.
Thanks to you.
Yeah.
Because-
Caleb came up to me and he said, "I think I'm gonna date Catherine." I said, "You're an idiot." And now,
Oh, really?
now they're getting married. Yeah.
Oh, that is funny.
I never thought in a million years that Catherine would date him, and he was a young kid, you know, and he had the sky above his head and would kind of stare at it sometimes, and then last time I went to Colorado was about a year ago, and he
Okay.
said I bought a ring, and I think I'm gonna ask her to marry me, and now I'm going back and I'm going to the wedding.
Wow.
Yeah.
How fast it suddenly can go, eh?
I know.
But with
was
that, like once you've made up your mind and you know what you want, or like you fall in love basically,
Yeah.
then yeah, there you go.
Right. You don't have to wait around too much, apparently. So.
And cloud 9, or what is it
Yeah,
called?
exactly.
It moves fast sometimes.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I fell in love first a year and a half, just you know, we just like kept in touch and we're good friends and would see each other and stuff like that. And then when I would see her again after like so many months of not seeing her, I just completely thought, Mark, you're an idiot if you don't ask her. So
Right.
somebody else is gonna
Right.
sneak up on her and take her, grab her. And so that's when I proposed also. And then once that was done, it was within weeks we were married.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
And still, that was 17 years ago. So.
And you're still married?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
great.
very happy. Yeah, best decision of my life.
Good.
And although it was sort of impulsive, and sure, we've had our ups and downs. You know, you get your share of life,
You're right.
right?
If relationships don't have ups and downs, then how authentic is it? Is kind of how I feel. You know, like if people are constantly happy all the time, it's like
There's gotta
you
be
guys
something
being-
wrong here.
Yeah, right. How authentic are you being with someone if you're just happy all the time? Maybe it is, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You try to make cloud 9 last as long as possible.
For
though,
sure, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With the pink sunglasses or so.
Right.
Where everything is beautiful and everything is great. And,
Yeah.
and until you start discovering little things in the relationship that you want to change or that
Right.
are not quite as you expected, and yeah. But actually, the more, not the more, but like when you do encounter problems and you overcome them together, right? It makes a relationship better.
Right.
Really, in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things that could break a relationship, I'm sure.
You're right.
Yeah,
it depends on the foundation of two people. It's really
Right.
going to be the foundation of a relationship.
Right.
If one person's foundation is strong and the other one's shaky,
It's not
one
gonna
person's
last,
might
right?
be able to, supply both, but usually speaking, not. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I went to UNC, University of Northern Colorado, which is about 30 minutes from Fort Myers. I'm sorry, not Fort Myers, Fort Collins.
Okay.
And I moved back to Denver and moved in with a boyfriend pretty impulsively. I was like 19.
Okay, yeah, that's very young.
It was very young, yeah, and had a lot of learnings from that. I was like,
You did, yeah.
you think that you want to spend a bunch of time with someone, and you spend a bunch of time with them, but living with someone it's completely different.
It's
it really
different,
is.
yeah. But at 19, starting to live together, that is really early.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
And you hardly know yourself.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
you're still
and I didn't-
discovering the world.
Yeah.
And that on top of it can
Yeah.
also definitely be beautiful and a good thing. I mean, I have heard stories in the Uber that, or in this case in the Lyft, that people they met in high school and fell in love and got married and never, I've been 50 or 60 years together
And they never look back, yeah.
and never look back.
Yeah.
Those stories happen too, but I would think that those are special cases.
Right.
That is not common. But yeah, it does happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, so for how long were you together with him?
We were so we unfortunately kind of went through some ons and off phases. We knew each other for 7 years. I think together we were together for 3 years.
Okay. 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years. And I just was very young and had a very opinionated, and
That's a
and
good
it's just
thing.
so, yeah, it is. But sometimes I look back at the arguments we had, and it was just like that. Why did I care so much about something so minuscule? But
Yeah.
it's a learning curve, When
Yeah,
when you're some people when they're 19, they just think they know the world. That's all right. But turns out I didn't know anything about it.
And there's no manual like this is
yeah.
what life is about and this is how you have to think and say everything. No.
Right.
It is a learning curve.
Yeah.
And we learn as we go.
Right. Which, I mean, these Caleb and Catherine, they met very, very young, and I thought it was just going to be kind of like a honeymoon high school phase, and and then he said, I bought a ring for her, and I was like, wow. So he's so patient with her and kind, and she's very driven and independent. They have a
How
really
old are
great
they, you think?
relationship. Pardon me?
How old are they?
They're 24.
In their 24s. Okay, in the
24,
early
yeah.
20s.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, so. But it was, I was there. What's funny is the day that Caleb said, I'm going to ask Catherine out. I was like, oh, come on, Caleb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just don't
Yeah.
break her heart, whatever you do.
Yeah.
She kind of put him on the straight and narrow, and he put her on the straight and narrow, and
Really?
they just kind of blossomed together.
What does that mean exactly? On the straight and narrow?
Straight and narrow is kind of like somebody who's kind of maybe lost in, life and doesn't have a lot of guidance with either friends, family, whatever it is.
Okay.
And you just have someone that says, here's your next step and here's what's going to benefit you.
Yeah. Keep each other in check.
Exactly. Both
Yeah.
of them were kind of independently doing their own thing, but
Yeah.
when they came together, they really fortified that forward.
And flourish together.
Exactly, yeah.
That's a strong team though.
I know, yeah.
That's
So
a
we've
good
been
thing.
really good friends ever since I was their manager, and yeah, now I'm gonna watch them get married on Thursday. It's crazy.
So cool that you're going though. So
Yeah,
nice.
right.
But you probably are killing multiple flies with one stone. No? You're gonna go see
Yeah,
family and
Yeah,
no?
well, my family, ironically, is actually in Colombia, in Medellin.
Okay.
And they travel around the world, so it's my brother and my mom. And I went to go see them back in January, so I'm going to see some distant family in Colorado.
Okay.
But my immediate family is actually down in South America right now.
Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
They're traveling the world.
They're traveling the world, yep.
And that's your mother and your brother.
My mom, my brothers, yep, yeah, so. My brother has a digital marketing company, so he's able to work remote.
Okay.
And my mom, I left Colorado, and my brother left Colorado, and she was just kind of like, well, I don't really have a lot going on, and she was retired, and so she just packed up a backpack and just started traveling with my brother. And we went to Ireland in August, and then they went to Paris, and they went to Germany for Oktoberfest. My mom got the drunkest she's ever been her entire life. And then they just traveled. They went to Vienna, Austria. They went all around.
Wow.
And then they just ended up in Medellin, and the weather is like perfect there. It's like 70 degrees year round.
They've been there longer now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They don't have plans yet to move on?
My mom doesn't. My brother kind of chooses plans by the week. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
very. He was like, I'm gonna go to Chile on Sunday, and so he flew out to Chile. So he kind of makes it last minute, but my mom seems to kind of have her roots in Medellin. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you fell in love with someone?
Yeah, maybe. She got a puppy too. She
Yeah.
got a little puppy down there, so she's spending time with him quite a bit.
Is he?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna see some distant family while I'm there, but my immediate family, I saw them back in January.
Back in January, and where was that?
It was in Medellin. I
Oh,
flew
okay.
down
You
to
went
Medellin.
over there,
Yeah.
and you didn't say, "Okay, I'm staying with you guys. I'm gonna travel the world too."
Well, if I didn't have a job and animals, I
Animals.
would.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. At home, yeah.
I got animals at home, but the plan is long term is to work for my brother next summer, and that would give me the freedom of working remote, and then
Oh.
potentially moving down to Medellin, but
Or wherever you would please.
or wherever I want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the freedom of it. Part of me wants to go back to Colorado. Part of me, wants to not go back to what's comfortable and find something else new. But
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
yeah,
It's
so
it's a free life. It's a free
it
world
is.
out there,
Yeah,
and that's also the advantage of an American passport, I would say.
it is. It is. Yeah.
Not everybody's fortunate that they can travel like that.
Right.
But it's definitely interesting, and to see a lot of the world makes you also appreciate your own country more.
Absolutely.
I think,
Yeah. It definitely puts things into different contexts than what you hear about in maybe school or hearing other people's traveling stories. It makes you realize the stuff that you think is really important maybe is really not that important.
Also, right?
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
When we were my brother and I, when we went to Spain, we'd wake up at 7 a.m. and and I'd be reading a leadership book and he'd be working on his laptop and there wasn't even a coffee shop open, they just, and they're just like, and then you go to the coffee shop that's open and they're just casually drinking wine and drinking coffee and they just enjoy life,
Yeah.
We went to this one town and I thought the whole town had gotten bankrupt, but they were just in siesta. And I was like, you guys just take a 2-hour break throughout the day,
Yeah, they do that. Yeah.
So that was probably the biggest eye-opening, is realizing that stuff that I think is so important, like career and focus and education, really is not that important to other people. So what's really important is kind of contextual to where you're living at.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest realization I had with that was traveling. So I'm very fortunate for that too.
Yeah, and to have some social richness in your life.
Yeah.
To have friends and people to see, to hang out with. Also, sometimes I think that in the West, and then especially in the US, life's gotten so expensive
Yeah.
that we have to work so hard for our money
Yeah.
that there's little time left to really go enjoy the things that you enjoy doing.
Right.
Like, I work 6 days a week, and then I have 1 day a week that day is often also filled with certain things that you want to do that you have to do.
Right.
So how much really time do you have to enjoy life?
Yeah.
It's very limited here.
Right.
I've lived 10 years in Mexico,
Okay.
and Mexicans enjoy life way more than here.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
way
yeah.
more poor,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
well, but they really enjoy life way more than us.
Yeah. The first time I traveled to Colombia, I went to Cartagena and I met someone there, and he couldn't understand the fact that I was stressed out to go back to work. That just didn't make a lot of sense to him. He was like, well, why are you stressed out to go back to work? And because his life was totally different than mine, and even though his economic stance was different than mine, he had no strings. I mean, just absolutely no frustration or stress about living that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
And like every night he would go and drink a beer and sit in a chair and talk to his family, and it's a lot of that I feel like is missing in regards to American culture. And
Yeah.
so it's exciting to go to other countries.
It
to kind of
is.
see that kind of sense of community. Like when I was in Medellin, I mean, if you look lost or if you look like you don't know where you're going, anybody's gonna ask you, do you need help? What do you need?
Yeah.
How can we help you? and if I was walking up and down the streets of Naples, no one would stop. You know, everybody would drive by, and no one would ask me. So, yeah.
So true.
Yeah, but
There's something disconnected about the American society is very based on the car.
yeah.
And so you go everywhere by car.
Mm-hmm.
But so you don't look people in the eye or you don't say hello. Like if you're walking to a place, you bump into people. But when you drive in a car, hopefully you don't bump into anybody, right?
Yeah.
But it's sort of a disconnected kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Doing everything by car.
Yeah, that is true.
In a way.
Yeah.
It's but there's pluses and minuses with every type of society.
Right.
And you gotta count your blessings, right?
Yeah.
And work on what we can improve.
Right.
And but learn from other societies.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Where do you get your accent from? Where?
Oh, I'm from the Netherlands.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, and I've traveled quite a bit too, and I can very relate to your stories.
Yeah. It's just things that should be scary, or it's just not. It's not that scary. People were terrified of me to go to Colombia, and it's just like it. I mean, it's just anywhere you travel, you have to be mindful about where you're at. You have to be mindful about your surroundings.
Of
Whether
course.
I'm traveling in Naples or if I'm in
Of course.
Miami, wherever I'm at, those kind of sense of where I'm at and being aware of your surroundings is going to be anywhere you go, whether I go to another country or not.
Right.
And sometimes it's kind of this like falsified security that anything in America is safe and anything outside of that can't be. And ironically for me, I felt more safe being in Medellin than I did per se in America at times.
Yeah.
So it's very it's nice talking to people who travel because they just understand things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Which was great for my mom. My mom kind of had a sheltered opinion about things and very conservative lifestyle, and now she's traveled and she just sees things so much differently.
Yeah.
She just sees things so much
Nice.
differently. Yeah.
Nice. Another thing what's difficult is to escape from American society because it is so huge, the country. It is so big.
Yeah.
It really takes a big effort here to go to another country, see another culture.
Yeah.
Like where I'm from, the Netherlands, if you drive 2 hours, you're outside the country.
Right.
You're in Germany, nobody speaks Dutch, so you gotta find a new way of communicating. It's only 2 hours away. And you drive 2 hours south, you're in Belgium. Another 2 hours, you're in France.
Yeah.
And there's all these different languages, all these different cultures, all these different ways of looking at life and how they do things.
Yeah.
Like this example where you said in Spain, in Italy, everybody rushes to a coffee shop at 7 o'clock in the morning to have their shot of espresso.
Yeah.
And they're all hyper people.
Yeah.
No wonder.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, it's wonderful to see that. It's just such a different way of living your life.
Yeah.
But in Europe, it's so easy to get a sense of that.
Right.
And in the US, if I travel to Colorado, I mean, the English is the same.
Right.
Maybe that the speed limit is different, but that's about it.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I mean?
true. Yeah.
And it's hard to get out of the US.
Yeah.
Especially with the Mexican border being unsafe.
Right.
You don't easily drive into Mexico.
Yeah.
Maybe Canada, you know, if you can afford it, then you go there to see another country, but that's sort of similar as here.
Yeah.
A little bit. But that's about it. Then you have to take the plane.
Right.
And so, yeah, for a lot of people, that's just not affordable. It's just, you know.
Yeah, and
we are very fortunate that we can have these experiences.
And beyond affordability, it just like even sometimes the plane rides. Good Lord, when my brother and I went to Spain, we found like the cheapest tickets you could find. And we went on Kiwi, and so we flew from Colorado to San Francisco, all the way to Spain. It's like a 14-hour flight.
Yeah.
And
crazy.
all they wanted to give me was wine, vino. I was like, I just want water, please. Like,
Oh,
please
really?
just give me some water.
Oh,
Yeah. So beyond just affordability, for some people, you know, being in a plane ride that long is just like it's exhausting. And even for me, sometimes, you know, flying internationally, it can be pretty tiring. But usually I drink the whole time, so it makes it a lot funner. You know.
What does this car have on the mirror? Is that a way to keep the mirror clean or so? You wonder. Anyway.
That is, and they must be. They probably are drying it out. If they had to work outside all day today, they're probably drying out their t-shirts. Man alive.
From sweat.
Today was hot. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Right.
What a way of doing that.
Right.
Smart.
Yeah.
So can I ask what? Are you still a manager, but now for another company, or what are you doing currently?
So I'm relocated down here with the same company that I was working for in Colorado to help open a retirement facility down here.
It's called what?
Erickson Living is the name of the corporation, and the name of the retirement community is Sienna Lakes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So what does that do?
It's a 62 and up, 62 and older retirement community. So pretty much all independent living residents right now, cognitively and physically. And so we have like 5 restaurants on site, a salon, a gym, a pool. So it's kind of like if somebody doesn't want to live in a big house anymore and take care of that maintenance, you can move into this community. And the hope is that they provide everything they need for you to live a kind of like a worry-free
But you do live independent?
Yes.
You have your own place, your own home?
Yeah, I live in an apartment. I work for the retirement facility.
Right. No, I don't mean you, but they have their own home in that system?
It's kind of like an apartment complex. You put down a lease, and then you have a monthly service or leasing agreement that you pay towards. And then just depending on how big your apartment is going to be contingent on what those numbers are.
And couples can also be there, but not with kids.
No, we don't have any kids that live there. You know, that's a good question. I don't know if kids can. No, they can't live there. You have to be 62 and older.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But if I'm 62 and my wife is 52.
That's a really good question, and this has been brought up before. I don't know for sure if they. I work in the like HR dining part of it.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure if there's like an age gap if the partner be able to be there as well. So yeah, I started as a server with the company in one of the restaurants and moved down here as a general manager, and then was fortunate enough to be promoted to staff development manager. So I'm more on the employee aspect of the community rather than the resident aspect.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's
You've been with the company a while, so you like it.
I do. Yeah.
You make a career.
Yeah.
Going up.
Been there it was 7 years in December.
7 years.
7 years, yeah.
That's often a make or break period.
It's starting to break a little bit. I gotta be honest. Yeah, it's like doing the same thing over and over again, and
there needs to be the next step, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and especially seeing the freedom of working remote. My brother is going to potentially let me work with him as well. So, and then at that point, I don't have to worry about taking time off and anything of that sort. And then I might be moving down to Medellin, but I don't know. I mean, that's the freedom of it.
It's a world that you feed.
Yeah.
Well, my work is remote. I can also drive for Uber anywhere.
Okay.
But I choose to be in Naples because we still have a 17-year-old living with us.
Okay.
And so he goes to Naples High and.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah. So for his sake, we're still like a stable family.
Okay.
But once he's out of the house, we could move anywhere too.
Yeah. Is he looking for a job?
No.
No.
He's like doing school and soccer. That's the only two things that matter in life. Yeah.
My job is majority of our restaurants we employ high school staff.
Okay.
So like I go to high schools and I'll do like recruitment tables. And I went to Naples High and handed out flyers during
Oh, really?
lunch break and try to get some more exposure around it. Yeah. So that's
So
my
you're
job.
looking for kids to work in your company?
Majority of our employee field is high school students.
Okay.
It just an experience isn't really necessarily needed if they have it great.
What he does need, he needs to find a nice place where he can do his volunteer work. He needs to do 100 hours of volunteer work.
Okay.
And he hasn't really found anything yet. But do you also accept volunteers or not?
We don't have any volunteers right now.
No?
Yeah, we don't really necessarily have like a volunteer program or like an intern program.
No.
But I think it's because we're independent living. Whenever we open our continuing care or assisted living, then we'd probably have a lot of volunteer opportunities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that won't be until like summer of next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future?
Yeah, maybe.
It'll be too late for him though.
Yeah. Yeah. Is he
go
a
in
senior
with
this
his-
year?
He's a junior.
Okay.
So he still has a year to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Naples High is a really nice high school. I was
Oh, it is. Yeah.
All the high schools in Florida, it's like it's nicer than the university I went to in Colorado. Community college, Golden Gate, like those high schools are just incredible. I'm so blown away by them.
Are you comparing it to Colorado high schools?
Well, not even high school. I went to Columbine, and it was really, really small. So compared to the university that I went to in Colorado, the high schools down here, it kind of feels like a university campus. Just kind of how like spread out it is, and I guess just the greenery and outdoor seating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My high school was very condensed. You didn't really walk anywhere. It was like you stayed in one building.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the Florida high schools are like really spread out and just. I guess really anywhere you see a palm tree, you just feel like you're on vacation. So for me, I'm like, oh, this feels like kind of like a vacation,
Yeah. So can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
How do you pronounce your name? Candace?
Candace.
Candace.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Candace before. I've in the movies.
Yeah, Candace Brown. She's an actress, I think, from like the 70s.
Okay.
She's actually what my mom named me after. She liked the name.
But I mean, I've done thousands of rides and I've never met a Candace. So
Really?
your name is not common.
Yeah, that's good. Usually it's spelled Candice. I get that, like all my trophies growing up as a kid, like soccer trophies,
Oh,
were all
really?
spelled wrong.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, so it's Candace, and my mom named me after the actress Candace Brown.
Okay.
There's not a ton of context behind it, but I really like the name Candace. Usually I get...
Oh, it's a nice.
Yeah,
very
thank
nice
you.
name.
Usually I get resorted to Candy. People just kind of automatically assume I go by Candy. And I've been fighting it for now 27 years. And I
you
think
don't
at this
like it?
point,
No, you
not
don't like
really,
the candy?
No. Nah.
But candy is sweet.
I know it. Yeah, it's just
It's
kind of like it feels like a superficial name, Candy. I don't know. I just don't really like it. I don't really like it.
Yeah, that's true, right?
Yeah. What's your name?
My name's Mark.
Mark? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so my question is, would you mind if I record our ride? Well, it's running already. Publish it to YouTube.
Sure. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
great.
Okay. No problem.
Give you my card.
This is a really
There you
neat. I figured that maybe I was like maybe you do podcasts while you're driving or. Yeah.
But
This is awesome.
you don't go right away like, hey, what's that about?
No, not really. I probably should be more scared of stuff, but I usually am like,
I
oh,
don't
this
know.
looks cool. Let's try it out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. And you just randomly. What's the most interesting story you've heard so far?
Well, so I like philosophy,
Okay.
and so I always like when conversations turn into philosophy a little
Okay.
bit. That's just my personal affinity, I guess.
Sure.
But yeah, not really crazy things. Once I had a convict in the car who explained to me why he was stealing cars and how he did it and how easy it was, and
Oh no.
that he got in jail and then on probation and why he stopped doing it. And I thought that was sort of wow.
And he said this all, the microphones around and camera using.
Oh yeah, no. And with him, I said right from the get-go, do you mind if I publish this to YouTube? Because he was just rambling on about stealing cars and so. And he said, yeah, no problem. And it's on my channel too.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, there's just so many interesting people, really. And what I like from your story is the overall vision of like looking at your own life, but like also from abroad and like from a traveling point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And it also connects with my view of the world, that there's certain things in the US that we still want to improve here to make us a happier society, I think. And one of these things is I don't know how that is going to change though, but like there's this stress with work. You have to work to pay your bills.
You're right.
But it's work in the US. It even starts with the amount of free time you get.
Right.
Right. You get 2 weeks off PTO when you first start working somewhere. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely zero. That is just like when I stop working, I need first 3 or 4 days just to calm down.
Yeah.
And to just unwind.
Right.
You know what I mean? And 2 weeks is nothing. It is way too little. You need at least like 4 weeks. But that's not the culture. The culture here is work.
Right.
But what about enjoying life and just sitting on the side, fishing and without a hook?
You're right.
You know?
Yeah.
Or reading a good book and just,
It's ironic because they talk about this, especially in my company, we talk about this focus behind work-life balance, but it's almost going away more because now anybody can text me, anybody can send me an email.
Yeah.
I remember my mom, when she would come home from work, there was no, I have to answer this call or I have to go do this really quick. So although people are focusing on the fact of work-life balance, you can't also mitigate the fact that you're accessible, the expectation is you're accessible 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And they call you and you answer, and they text you and you answer. So how do you also keep a mobile device without saying, hey, I'm going to be accessible for this company, 24 hours?
Well, you have to turn it off.
Right.
Or block someone, but that's weird.
Right.
I mean, but my boss also texts me in the weekends.
Yeah.
Quick question mark, this and that and that. Oh yeah, and you don't even think about the answer, right?
Right.
Plus it's your boss, so.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You jump.
Yeah, right.
But, I mean, it's not a problem, boss. Although I don't think.
Right.
Please do keep
if you're
texting
listening to
me.
this, Varun, it's all right.
I doubt
it's
it,
okay.
but yeah, it's all good. But in society, it should be a no. That should be a not done kind of thing.
Yeah, it's in my kind of circumstance and the way that I used to manage people is that I respect your time off, and it's pretty much like unless there's a complete crisis, I'm going to respect your time off, because exactly to what you say, if we can't figure out a way for you to get your work done within a 50-hour week of working here, or you're still working outside of those hours, then we're doing something wrong. Like there has to be some kind of balance. I had a college professor who's from Italy, and he talked about, I don't know if it's the same in Netherlands, but he talked about you'd have like a whole month off and he was like, can anybody in this room imagine having an entire month off from work? And no one raised their hands. I mean, I take 2 weeks off to travel, and people are just like, wow, that's a lot of time. Are you sure you're going to be okay? And I'm like, if this place can't live without me for 2 weeks, then you guys are doing something wrong.
Right, exactly.
So it's, that was really the first time where I agree with you, where it was like, man, this is, something that I don't know how it's fixed, and granted, I don't really know if we're ever going to be able to get there, especially having cell phones, but how do we at least go towards and move towards people not just constantly stressed out?
But it's actually getting worse.
Right.
Because life is getting so expensive through the inflation.
Right.
I have 2 jobs. I mean, I like driving for Uber, but I'd rather not.
You would prefer to do something else, right?
No, I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
My Uber is my little extra that I need because my kids are in college.
Right.
You know, they don't want to have student loans too much.
Yeah.
And so I help with that, but need some extra income.
Yeah.
Things like so. These are choices that you make in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I see such huge differences with the past,
Mm-hmm.
where my dad, he was a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just took care of the whole family. So
Yeah.
my mom was at home, taking care of the kids, and then we had 7 kids at home, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We had a big home, 2 cars, everybody's sports and music class, and all of these things. We had a good life.
Yeah.
But my dad's with the one job was able to provide for all of that,
Yeah.
and that is by far not possible anymore. Right? I have 2 jobs. My wife has a full-time job. We have 3 kids, and we're having difficulty ends meet.
Right.
We don't live in a big house.
Right.
We do have 2 cars though. But you know,
Which should
I
be
mean,
considered a luxury.
I'm not
but
complaining.
these
I
days,
mean,
it's
but I'm seeing it like
we're
that-
getting
yeah.
further away from what used to be
what I think
accessible.
would be a healthy society.
Yeah, I agree. It's and guiding these, high school students and college students, and I'm barely making in Naples, and I'm 28, almost 28 years old, single female, and I have a 19-year-old in college who says I need to get paid more, and this is my bills. I just can't even imagine. I can't even imagine being 19 dealing with the cost of living and
At the moment,
Naples
yeah.
and just in general,
Yeah.
and going to college and trying to afford college. So I agree. It's getting further away from. I mean, even if we don't fix the problem, at least get further towards. Okay, we're going to make a solution to it rather than just continuing to let things grow out of an
Right.
unexpendable way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you get some good stories out of Uber. I hear you
I do.
though.
I do.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. And I like this too. I like the awareness
Yeah.
that society needs to work
Sure.
to improve.
Right.
You know, that is one thing. But anyway, I definitely did enjoy your stories.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you very much. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hopefully Caleb and Catherine don't listen to this, and
There you
Catherine
go.
finds out I told Caleb he was an idiot for
Yeah, yeah.
trying to make it work. But yeah.
Enjoy your vacation and definitely the wedding.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna enjoy the
nice.
season change a little bit.
There you go.
There's one thing about Florida. It's you lose track of the months here.
Right,
It's
right,
all
right.
the same year round. So.
It's definitely true. So which airline?
Southwest.
Southwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sunny skies of Florida. That's why it's so popular, but it's also I also miss the seasons, yeah.
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 Yeah. Where were you at before Florida?
Actually, we were living in Haiti.
Oh, wow,
And Haiti
okay.
does not have much seasons either. It's a little
Okay.
bit the same as here, like dry season and wet season.
Okay.
And before that was Mexico, which is more or less the same as here.
Yeah.
Depending a little bit on where you are, but where we were, it was also just always sunny skies, and then you have the rainy season and the dry season,
Yeah.
like that.
My brother went to Mexico for a while, and
He did? Did he like it?
oh, he loved it. And he
Yeah.
flew
Yeah,
back
Mexico
like
is special.
13 bottles of tequila. So
Oh.
we did a tequila tasting. I don't remember what they
Yeah.
all tasted like, but it was a fun time.